You won't believe the chilling responses I got when I texted a ghost while camping alone. Get ready for this bone-chilling haunted camper text story that will send shivers down your spine.
The night was alive with whispers of wind, and the dense canopy of trees stretched endlessly into the darkness, blotting out the soft glow of the stars. Alex, with only a tent and a backpack, had ventured into these woods in search of silence and solitude. But as the shadows deepened and the sounds of civilization faded, a different kind of silence settled, oppressive, heavy with unspoken threats. Alone, Alex felt the weight of isolation pressing in. The usual comforting crackle of the campfire now seemed to carry a warning. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves became a signal, a sign of something unseen moving in the dark. The boundaries between the known and the unknown blurred, and Alex's phone, a lifeline to the outside world, sat ominously silent on the picnic table. As the fire's glow flickered over the scene, casting eerie shadows that danced along with the flames, a chilling thought emerged in Alex's mind. The phone, usually a mundane device, suddenly felt like a portal, a gateway through which unseen forces might reach out. With a mix of dread and curiosity, Alex picked it up, the screen's light harsh against the enveloping darkness. Little did Alex know this simple action would soon turn this quiet camping trip into a night of haunting encounters. As nightfall deepened, the woods transformed. What had been benign under the daylight's touch now took on sinister shapes and forms. Trees, gnarled and bent, seemed to whisper among themselves, their branches clawing at the wind as if to snatch it from the air. The moon, partially hidden by scudding clouds, offered little comfort with its pale, intermittent light. Below this eerie skyscape, the ground was littered with the debris of autumn leaves, decayed to the point of being almost part of the soil itself, sticks and stones carelessly strewn as if discarded by giants. Each step Alex took was an exercise in trust, placing faith in the unseen ground beneath the leafy carpet. The air was cold, a biting chill that crept through the layers of clothing and clung to the skin. Sound seemed amplified in this cold darkness, each leaf rustle or distant animal cry slicing through the quiet with startling clarity. Alex's breath formed small clouds that mingled with the mist rising off the ground, each breath a visible reminder of the frigid air. As Alex settled by the campfire, the crackling flames provided a small circle of light and warmth. But beyond that circle, the darkness seemed to deepen, as if feeding off the light, growing thicker with each passing moment. This contrast only heightened the sense of vulnerability, of being an intruder in a realm where humans were not meant to tread. Upon arriving at the campsite earlier that day, the scene had been quite different. The sun was still high, casting long shadows on the forest floor, but these shadows promised respite from the heat rather than threats from the unseen. Alex had set up the tent with practiced ease, anticipating a night under the stars, disconnected from the world's relentless pace. As the sun began to set, the transformation was gradual but unmistakable. Colors muted, sounds hushed, and the air grew cooler. With each passing hour, the familiar became foreign, the comforting became menacing. It was as if the forest itself was shifting, preparing for its nocturnal life, and Alex an unwelcome witness to its secret rites. Dinner was a simple affair, eaten mostly in silence. Alex's mind was preoccupied not just with the isolation, but with an increasing sense of foreboding. The texts sent earlier in the day to friends had gone unanswered, their digital echoes lost to the vast wilderness. As darkness took full hold, the phone's persistent silence grew heavier, a stark reminder of Alex's solitude. Night in the forest is far from silent. The sounds of nocturnal creatures, the whispering of the trees, the very breath of the earth seemed louder in the darkness. It's a symphony of natural sounds that in any other context would be fascinating. But here, alone and isolated, they were a cacophony that frayed the nerves, each note a potential harbinger of unseen dangers lurking just beyond the firelight's reach. Compelled by a growing unease, Alex reached for the phone. Initially, the intent was to check for any missed messages, a hopeful gesture towards connection. But the screen remained stark, the list of messages as empty as before. In a moment of whimsical courage, perhaps driven by the need to break the silence, Alex typed a message into the void. "Is anyone there?" The act of sending a text into an unknown void was strangely cathartic. There was no expectation of a reply, yet the simple act of reaching out felt like a tether back to reality, a reminder that beyond the oppressive, enveloping darkness, there was a world filled with life and light. Alex stared at the screen, the small bubble of the sent message sitting alone amidst the digital followed. The phone seemed almost mocking in its stillness, its screen a small pool of light in the vast darkness. Alex tossed the phone aside, trying to dismiss the foolishness of expecting a response. The fire crackled mockingly, as if laughing at Alex's attempt to find companionship in this secluded, shadow-filled place. But then, the unexpected happened. The phone vibrated, a sudden startling sound in the silent night. Alex stared at it, a mix of hope and dread building. Picking it up, the screen lit up with 3 simple, chilling words. "Yes, I'm here." Section 5, An Unexpected Connection. The Ghost Replies. The words on the screen seemed to hover in the air, spectral and surreal. "Yes, I'm here. Who could be sending this message?" Alex's rational mind raced through possibilities. Perhaps a friend playing a cruel joke, or maybe a wrong number somehow connecting through the wilderness's scant signal. But deep down, something felt eerily off, as if the message had come not from across space, but from across the boundaries of reality. Reeling from the shock, Alex replied hesitantly, "Who is this?" The seconds stretched into eternity as the phone lay silent. The fire popped and hissed as if urging Alex to retreat, to leave the mystery unsolved. But curiosity, that deeply human trait, overrode instinctual fear. Alex needed to know, even as every shadow seemed to press closer, as if watching. When the phone vibrated again, it was as if a cold hand had reached out and touched Alex's spine. The message was simple yet impossible. "Don't you recognize me? I'm the one you lost." These words, so personal, so fraught with meaning, pierced through the veil of logical explanations. Alex's mind flashed back to memories long buried, to a friend lost to these very woods years ago. The air seemed to thicken and the shadows to deepen. Alex's heart raced, pounding against the ribcage with primal fear. The digital words on the phone screen were now a lifeline and a curse, a connection to a past that was supposed to be dead and buried. What began as a simple camping trip had spiraled into a nightmarish dialogue with something that refused to remain silent. Section 6. The Conversation. Messages from Beyond. Tentatively, Alex typed a response, each tap of the fingers heavy with trepidation. The conversation that followed was surreal, each message from the unknown sender weaving a narrative of past and present, blurring lines between the living and the dead. The ghost, if that's what it was, spoke of things only Alex and the lost friend knew, secrets whispered in the safety of friendship. What followed was a digital seance, a back and forth that tugged at Alex's soul. With each message, the fire seemed to burn lower, the shadows growing bolder as if they were closing in, drawn by the words that flickered on the tiny screen. The forest around seemed to hold its breath, the usual night sounds strangely muted, as if the creatures themselves were listening. As the conversation deepened, the ghost began to ask for things, remembrances, acknowledgments of past events, and subtly for Alex to remain in the woods. Each request twisted further into the realm of the uncanny. The veil between past and present, life and death, seemed to tear a bit more with each exchanged text. Yet amidst the fear and confusion, there was a poignant thread of sadness. The ghost spoke of loneliness, of being trapped between worlds, unable to move on. This revelation struck a chord with Alex, mirroring the isolation felt since setting up camp. Perhaps this was not just a haunting, but a plea for help, a call to be remembered, to be released from an eternal limbo. As the night progressed, the distinction between what was real and what was imagined became increasingly blurred. Alex's senses seemed to betray him. Shadows moved of their own volition, and the wind carried whispers of voices long silent. The phone became a conduit for these paranormal experiences, each message more unsettling than the last. "Stay with me," the messages pleaded. "Don't leave me alone here." The emotional pull of these words was powerful, dredging up guilt and sorrow from deep within Alex. The forest, once a place of solitude and peace, now felt like a prison, its bars made of towering trees and unending darkness. The physical environment reacted to the unfolding drama. A sudden chill swept through the campsite, the fire's flames flickering as if in panic, their light struggling against the oppressive dark. A low fog began to roll in, creeping along the ground, enveloping everything in its ghostly embrace. It seemed as if the forest itself was responding to the ghost's pleas. aligning itself against Alex's departure. Fear gripped Alex's heart as the realization dawned that this was no ordinary encounter. This was a crossing of thresholds, a mingling of worlds that should not touch. The phone, once a lifeline, now felt like a trap, binding Alex to this haunted clearing. The temptation to run was overwhelming, but the fear of what lay beyond the campfire's diminishing light was paralyzing. In a moment of desperation, Alex decided to confront the source of the messages. Leaving the safety of the firelight, Alex ventured into the darkness, phone in hand, the ghost's last message leading the way. The forest seemed to close in, branches reaching out like hands trying to snatch the phone away, to sever the connection that had been so perilously forged. As Alex reached a familiar part of the woods, the place where the friend had been lost, the air grew colder, almost electric. The phone vibrated violently in Alex's hand, messages appearing faster than they could be read, each one a plea, a scream in digital form. "Don't leave me," they cried, echoing through the trees. It was here, beneath the ghostly light of the moon, that Alex finally saw it. A figure, ethereal and shimmering, hovering at the edge of visibility. The sight was terrifying yet mesmerizing. The figure spoke, not through the phone now, but directly. A voice that was both familiar and otherworldly. It spoke of unresolved pain, of being tethered to the mortal world by unfinished business and unspoken words. The encounter was both a climax and a turning point. Alex, overwhelmed by fear and compassion, did what had been asked throughout the night. Acknowledged the ghost's presence, its pain, and its friendship. With words spoken aloud into the chilling air, Alex offered the ghost what it seemed to seek: recognition and release. After the encounter, the atmosphere in the forest shifted. The oppressive presence that had dominated the night seemed to dissipate, like mist at the rise of the sun. Alex stood alone in the clearing, the phone silent in hand, the weight of the night's events heavy in the air. The realization that the supernatural could touch the mundane world so directly was overwhelming. The conversation with the ghost, though filled with fear, had also opened a door to understanding. A realization that the emotions and bonds that tie humans together do not simply vanish after death. These connections can cross unimaginable boundaries, manifesting in ways that challenge our understanding of reality. Alex's fear was mingled with a profound sense of awe and empathy. The night's experiences had changed Alex. The isolation sought in these woods had led to one of the most profound connections imaginable. The journey from fear to understanding had been harrowing, but it left Alex with a new perspective on the shadows that dwell in both the world and the human heart. The forest, once a place of solitude, would now always be a place of deep, resonant connection. Reflecting by the now extinguished campfire, Alex felt a mix of exhaustion and enlightenment. The encounter had been terrifying, but it had also been a dialogue, a message that even in our deepest solitude, we are not truly alone. The supernatural, often a source of fear, had revealed itself to be deeply intertwined with the most human of experiences: loss, longing, and love. As dawn crept over the horizon, casting light on the once menacing shapes of the forest, Alex packed up the campsite. The events of the night, though harrowing, had left a mark not just of fear but of understanding. The ghostly texts, the ethereal figure, and the whispered pleas had been a testament to the thin veil between life and death, a reminder of the unresolved and the eternal. The drive back to civilization was quiet, the normalcy of the world outside the forest stark in contrast to the night's spectral encounters. Yet this return to normalcy was tinged with a new awareness. Alex knew that the shadows of last night would linger, not just in the mind, but in the soul. The experience had etched a deep understanding of the supernatural, not as merely a source of fear, but as a profound aspect of our human experience. In sharing this story by the campfire or in quiet conversations, Alex would not just speak of fear, but also of the unexpected beauty found in facing the unknown. The story of texting a ghost in the woods would be a tale not just of terror, but of the mysterious ways in which the past can reach out to the present, asking for recognition, for memory, for peace. Thus, the journey into the forest had begun with a search for solitude, but ended with a profound connection to the unseen threads that connect all of life. It was a reminder that sometimes, in our darkest and most isolated moments, we are more connected than we could ever imagine. The echoes of that night would resonate long after, in every shadowed corner, in every unexplained chill, in every moment of solitude, reminding Alex that we are never truly alone.